It has been evident for months that Benjamin Netanyahu is putting more and more restrictions and problems when it comes to the negotiations and the prospect of a ceasefire. Yesterday we spoke about his confrontation with the head of the Mossad. Benjamin Netanyahu stated that the Israelis who are imprisoned in Gaza are surviving, they are suffering, but they are alive, something that sparked outrage from the people in the security establishment alongside the families of the Israeli prisoners in Gaza. Now he had another confrontation and a comment from the defense minister. Now, the defense minister is a person who Benjamin Netanyahu had a lot of feuds with previously. He previously sacked him during the judicial reform days before the 7th of October. He had to get him back because he was sympathetic with the protesters against Netanyahu, and after public pressure, he had to reinstate him as a defense minister. After the war started, they had many problems. They weren't meeting with each other. It reached a level where at one point the defense minister stormed Benjamin Netanyahu's office and threatened to bring a brigade from the IDF to set law and order. Now he's coming up with a statement that's very much in line with the head of the Mossad. He said, "We have the final 2 weeks to make a decision." From the reports that we're getting from Israel, the deal has been sealed from the security establishment, and the only obstacle is Benjamin Netanyahu. And the pattern is similar to the pattern that we saw before from Benjamin Netanyahu when it comes to putting more restrictions, coming up with new orders, new conditions to reach a deal. But now it's getting more complicated. So the feedback that we're getting from Israel, according to many Israeli media sources, they're saying that Benjamin Netanyahu is holding more and more responsibilities when it comes to the ceasefire. So whereas he used to give them a level of independence when it comes to the talks, although under his limits, now he is actually the one making the decisions. So he is asking all of the negotiating delegation to report back to him, alongside banning them from closing a deal when they are negotiating and meeting with the other mediators. He is now taking the final word, and he is actually involved in the negotiations. He's not just there to approve them or disapprove them, he is included in them. That makes it more complicated, and it makes the negotiations go longer. Now, many people argue that this is what Benjamin Netanyahu wants, delay it as much as possible. However, with him holding the strings, the possibility of a ceasefire becomes almost impossible, because the man is still insisting on certain things that the security establishments cleared, such as controlling the Philadelphia corridor. He's not talking about the Netzarim line, which is the area that splits the north from the south, but he is only talking about the Philadelphia corridor and the Rafah crossing. According to Benjamin Netanyahu's version, they are choking Hamas by being present there. However, reports on the ground and evidence coming from Gaza show that Israel is suffering massive losses in those areas, including reports from troops fighting in those areas who speak with figures in Israel that oppose Benjamin Netanyahu, claiming that they don't know who they're fighting or what they're fighting, because Hamas are popping up, shooting them and disappearing, and they have no clue what's going on the ground when it comes to the casualties from Hamas, and that Benjamin Netanyahu is selling lies to the Israeli public and propaganda just for his own purposes and to prolong the war as much as possible.